Samba candles. Oh, watch these legends steal the show. Oh, samba.
Ah, you guys, I love it. I love it to be here. I love to be here with you, Vito. Thank you for joining us. Let's wait a little bit so everybody joins us. We are a few minutes late, so I want to wait for another 1 minute while you listen to this beautiful Samba Candle song in a bossa nova style, and I'll be right back with you.
Beauty with the flame, then she came, lights went wild. Whole new wave, whole new style. Ooh, we talk, we prove, every step is history. Big dreams, big move, now the world remembers me. Ooh, samba candles. Ooh, watch these legends steal the show.
That was beautiful. Good evening, everyone. Oops, I lost my camera here. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Good evening, Vito. How are you today?
Good.
Let me say boa noite para todo mundo que estiver me assistindo do Brasil. I'm going to talk in Portuguese just a little bit because I have a lot of people joining from Brazil. And I want to say to my people, boa noite para todos que estão me assistindo do Brasil. Fiquem aqui mesmo em inglês, eu quero que vocês aprendam inglês falando comigo, escutando o que eu falo, e a gente pode tirar umas dúvidas depois. Everyone watching here, thank you for being here. We are also going live on Instagram, just a second. We do have, I wasn't on Instagram, I wasn't live on Instagram yet, so just give me 1 second. 1 more minute, and we're going to start our topic tonight. We're talking about studs. So if you have any questions and you want to start posting questions here, just go ahead and give me just 30 seconds because we are starting our live also on Instagram. Everybody on Instagram, thank you for joining us. Everyone in Brazil, boa noite. Obrigada por estar aqui. Everyone in Spanish-speaking language countries, buenas noches, ¿cómo están? Espero que estén bien. Buona notte, Italia. And dobro utra for Russians. Ni hao, China. Bonsoir for French people. I don't remember how to say good evening in German. But we are live. Well, guys, I'm so happy to be here, and I do have a amazing topic to talk about with you guys tonight. And I do believe that this is my second best expertise. I would say my first best expertise is probably, breeding and bringing together these beautiful puppies. But when it comes to studs, I have to admit, I have done a great job. I never imagined that I would get to where I am today as far as not only quality, but reputation, and also, of course, quality always in the first place, but also, praising for a good reputation, doing the right thing for the dogs, doing right by the dogs, doing right by my clients. And tonight we're gonna talk seriously about how to make your stud stand out from the other ones. It's not easy. It's something that everybody wants, because everybody wants to buy a male, especially the breeders. You know, if you have a starting program, your dream is to have a dog like Shake that sells a whole bunch of studs in a month, and that's almost impossible. I'm going to be very, very clear here. What happened to Shake and Klaus, it was a phenomenon, but I'm not saying that it couldn't happen to you or to the next breeder, because it happened to me. And it happened to me being a new breeder in a new breed. I wasn't a new breeder, but I was in the new breed for only 2 years when I acquired Klaus and I made what he became. And then another year and a half to, or a year, 2 years to get to Shake. And well, I tell you one thing, I do know how to promote a stud. Probably it's my talent. I don't know, just maybe the years of experience with the Dogos. But the funny thing is, everything that I learned about Dogos taught me on how to get here, as far as structure, as far as conformation, as far as, you know, my breeding program, even sales, marketing, everything. It was built throughout those 20 years of experience. But when it comes to stud, it's something new for me, because I never stood out my Dogos. Very rarely, very rarely. I actually started learning how to collect in 2021. That was the first time I've ever collected a dog. And I actually needed to learn, because having a stud like this, you know, famous studs, we end up needing to really put hands on and work, because we cannot depend on veterinarians. But we're going to talk about all of this tonight. I have my friend Vito here. He's very, very, very more experienced than I am in breeding dogs. He said, oh, I don't have that much experience in promoting studs. And I said, but you have so much more to talk about when it comes to certain topics that we're going to talk about here tonight. And I would love to say hi to everybody joining us. So if you know anyone that would love to watch this live with us tonight, start right now and please share this live, because this live is about males, stud dogs, how to make them stand out, how to make them work for you, and how to make them shine in the way that they are supposed to. Okay, Vito, good evening. I want to hear a quick good evening from you. How are you doing?
Good. Been a not eventful day. It's been raining here, but still everything was good.
Yeah, it's been raining here too. It's been raining a lot here, and it's nasty when when I don't have that much concrete, and I'm so used to concrete in Brazil. My kennels were always concrete, and here I have the concrete kennels, and then I have so much dirt to get to the concrete kennels that by the time I get there, it's already all dirty. And then when I come back to my house, it's already my boots are dirty too. But it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm not complaining. So I want to read some of the messages that we're getting here tonight. We have old school Nick, always the first one to say hi to us. Happy Thursday, everyone. Aria Sambacanos has the bully a team lineup. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for joining us. Taylor Twardy, good afternoon, y'all. Good afternoon to you too. Most beautiful Brazilian bulls in the U.S., Samba Kennels. Oh, I really appreciate that. That makes me smile. We have beautiful Brazilian bulls in the U.S. I'm sure that mine are beautiful, probably the most beautiful ones, because I'm their mama. I'm proud. But thank you so much, Aline, the family 706. Thank you so much for this beautiful compliment. I appreciate you. Duro, Ricio, Bully Camp, Samba Kennels family. Hello. The family is a little shorter in number today because Oscar, of course, he was working, so he's not going to be on. Tony and Didi had to work. They're having an event or something. And we have Lauren that should be on with us in a few minutes, okay? She's working a little later tonight. Ernesto, how are you? How's your baby doing? We also have Abid, hello Abid, how are you? Vito and Aria, good evening. Thank you for joining us. We are going to talk about studs tonight, so hang in there because I get a lot of people asking me a lot of things all the time, and that I don't ever have the time to be personally answering things for you guys. And, time is getting tighter for me more and more. So this is the opportunity now for us to talk about studs. I want to give you a little bit of insight of how I built my stud program, what are the things that I was looking for, how I planned it, and it's going to be fun. I can't wait to share this with you because this is something that I really enjoy doing, is promoting my studs. I am a boys' mom. I always say I love having my boys here, and I love whelping too, but working with the studs is just a lot easier, but it's a lot harder for you to actually become successful. And this is what we're going to talk about tonight, okay? Because there are some mistakes that a lot of people make, and they don't even know that they're making these mistakes. And it's about these mistakes that we're going to talk tonight. So share this live to everyone that has a big stud or a beautiful stud and they're not promoting it right. Make sure to share it to them, to watch this live. I'm going to start the topic in a little bit. I just want to say hi to everybody that's leaving us some messages here. My 9-week-old Enzo at 15 pounds. What's the best way to keep him up and build? We're going to talk about that, Taylor. Hey, Samba family. Didi, she's here from work. I do have some questions on Instagram. It's kind of hard for me to read the Instagram messages because the writings are very small and it goes very fast because I have a lot of people coming through. Let me see here. Boo Boys Fabian. Hello, I have an Ariete and Sparta daughter coming home this weekend. Yes, congratulations. We excited to have a Brazilian bull. Well, I'm excited for you. You're going to love it. And then you're going to come back for more. And we're always open to help you if you decide to have a second one. Hey, Samba family, who is here? Jerry Owen, Oklahoma. Hey, Oklahoma, how are you guys doing? We have Thor Larson from Kansas. Thank you so much for joining us, Thor. I would love to hear messages from you guys asking me questions about the studs, okay? Very beautiful, thanks for help, love, friend, protection, animal of state. Nuria Cristo Balcaderon. Hi, Nuria. Thank you for your message. Salute, Vito and Oria. Oh, hello, Heroes Kennels. Jason and Hillary. How are you guys doing? It's been 2 weeks already that we interviewed them. Can you believe that? It's going by so fast. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. RBKZ Simba. Hey, I don't know how to say the name again. RBKZ Simba. Thank you for being here. Let's talk. Hey, we love Samba Kennels. BGBK, Big Guy Bully Kennels. Thank you for joining us. We're talking to some people here on Instagram. Who else do we have here?
Messenger. Katie sent a message.
My Mary Neuwirth. I'm so sorry, guys. My English is second language. It's not the best for names. Mary Neuwirth. Is that how you say it, Vito?
Nauworth, I would think.
Nauworth? Okay. Sounds better. Hello, Samba family. Hello, Mary. I'm just going to call her Mary. That's easier. Kevin, PSBK Kennels. Hey, what's up, Aria, Vito? Good to see you all. Good to see you too. Thank you for being here, Kevin. I am glad we're talking about studs because I am on the edge of a male. That's amazing. We're going to talk about the studs right now. And this is a topic that a lot of people reach for me for advice. And I do have some cautious to talk about studs because, of course, it's not easy to talk about studs because everybody thinks that they have a 2-month-old puppy and that 2-month-old puppy is going to be a stud. And it doesn't quite happen like that. Okay, but we're going to talk about even that we're going to talk about. Cheers from Maryland, Bouchard Bullies. Thank you so much for being present here, Bouchard Bullies. Everybody go follow Bouchard Bullies on Instagram. OG Dynasty Bullies. Hello, I love your guys' talks on Brazilian Bulls and American Bullies, but dogs in general. OG Dynasty Bullies, everyone go follow them too. Thank you for being here and sharing your love with us. We really appreciate everybody that's joining us on the live. And I'm planning on getting a Brazilian Bull really soon. We are here for you. If you need any help or any guidance, I can always guide you on the right direction. Isis. Oh, Ernesto owns a Puma son, Ice. He's doing very good. Such a good joy seeing him grow and develop. Hopefully he becomes a great stud. So ears are open. Great. We're going to be talking a lot about how to develop your stud. What is the best way to photograph my stud? Mary Curley, this is a very, very good question. We've been talking a lot about this lately, haven't we, Vito, in private in our group chat?
Yeah.
And this is
I've
one
been
of the
getting
topics.
tutored,
Yes, I'm tutoring you. No, I'm just
learning
guiding
all
you.
the secrets.
There are no
I'm
secrets.
still not that good.
It's just a different angle of you. It's not a secret. And this is the angle that I want to share with you guys, how I promoted my studs to become what they became. Western New York, Mary Curley. Hey, hello, everyone. Alfonso Duron. Hello, Alfonso. Okay, guys, I think now we can, there's one more here. Broom Bullies. Hey, Broom from Colorado. Nice. Thanks for joining us. I don't remember seeing your name here before, so if this is your first time, thank you. And if it's not, forgive me, because my mind doesn't remember very well. But everybody online, go follow Broom Bullies. And let me see on Instagram if we have any questions. We have Felicidades. Hola. Loco Life American Bullies. There's a lot of people coming through on Instagram. Boa noite, meu povo brasileiro. Let me talk a little bit in Portuguese tonight, because I have a lot of Brazilian people joining tonight. Boa noite, meus amigos. Queria tanto poder fazer essa live inteira em português para vocês, mas eu tenho que fazer em inglês, porque é o meu público daqui. Um dia eu vou começar as lives em português também. I was just saying to them that I have to do the lives in English, but one day I'm going to have a channel just for Portuguese, or maybe these channels can automatically translate to Portuguese, I guess. I have a Puma son, Shadow Flame, Cerberus Bully Creation. Yes, from, yes, amazing, with Vendetta, I believe. I love the journey I'm on and connections I'm making. Thank you, Mary. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, let's talk about studs. First, I always say, most people, when they buy a male puppy from us, most of them, especially coming for my program, most of them are hoping, that are looking for breeding rights, breeders. And mind you, 70% of my clients are breeders from all over the world, not just from here. And most of them always requests like, is he going to have a big head? Is he going to have a big bone? Or is he going to be impressive? Is he going to be some, the funniest thing is they show me a picture of Shake and they say, hey, I want one just like him. And I said, I want one too, It's not easy. It is not easy to produce a stud. It is not easy to even promote a stud. Sometimes you have the right mindset, but you don't have the right dog. Sometimes you have the right dog, but you don't have the right mindset. Sometimes you have the right mindset and the right dog, but you don't have the right mentor. And this is why I thought that today, with a little bit of my experience, I would guide you the best way I could to show you some of the protocols that I've used in the last 5 years to start promoting my studs. And we're going to talk a little bit also about the bad things that I went through, the good things that I went through, how I jumped and dived into this, what I should not have done or what I would have done differently. And of course, what are the things that I think I did right? So, first and foremost, my program started very differentiated because I started bringing dogs from Brazil. So that's already a plus point there, an advantage point for me. Because, but again, this is very important that you guys pay attention. A lot of people before me, and I'm not saying a lot, like 1,000. I'm saying like five or 10 kennels. When the pit monsters or the Brazilian bulls started becoming popular in Brazil, some kennels actually brought some males and some females to produce. And those were the first pit monsters here, not mine. I never said that I was the first one. I actually did the first transports. I transported a lot of dogs here before I did. And this is how I noticed the difference between the quality in some aspects, not saying that the Brazilian dogs were better, but I'm saying the quality that I was looking for in certain traits. I thought that the Brazilian bulls or the pit monster, as at that time, because it was just pit monsters, they had qualities that I really liked, and I really wanted to introduce them to the American gene pool. Do you know where my success story started? The real story behind every one of my studs has a lot more than just to do with the studs, but we're going to talk about the studs. I think that the main thing was exactly my mindset of not hiding the source. The strategy that some of the other kennels that brought Brazilian dogs for some time to America was to hide the source. They didn't want anybody to know where they came from. And I respect that. I have to respect that because that source was very valuable. We're talking about Brazil. You guys know now how many breeders and how many amazing dogs we have in Brazil. And they were seeing that and understanding that probably, is that your noise, Vito? Did you make a noise? Okay, no, I just want to make sure because I touched my speaker as I heard something. I thought maybe my speaker was talking something. Sorry, guys. So I believe that the first factor that helped me build my program was my authenticity to the breeders. And this has to do with pride because I am from Brazil. And I just didn't think that it was fair that I brought this dog here, Klaus, this one right here. You can see him. It wasn't fair that I brought him here and I wouldn't give the breeder the credit for where he came from. Not saying that what the other breeders were doing was wrong. It was just my strategy. My strategy is I'm going to go by my principles because I am very loyal to the people that I work with. I'm very loyal to the ones that help me. And my goal was to help somebody that was helping me. I didn't have money. Mind you, I did not have money to buy Klaus. And he wasn't a very expensive dog. But I did a partnership and somebody offered to buy that dog with me because they wanted to be co-owners. And I said, nope, this is my dog. I found it. I'm going to negotiate with the breeder because if I buy the dog outright, the breeder in Brazil was going to have, and especially because they were very simple people, very humble people, I should say, not simple, but humble people, that they would have never achieved what they achieved if I had just bought Klaus from them. It would have been $10,000. $10,000 right away. Give me the dog, and I'm going to. I'll bring him to America, and everything is mine. But there's something inside of me that says, I need to do something for this family. It was a family that the dad, my friend Alex Rocha, he worked night shifts, 12:36. He would work 12 hours at night, and then he would 36 hours he would stay home, And in the meantime, he was breeding, he was building his kennels brick by brick. And when I say brick by brick, him and his teenage kids were building those kennels. And I had the opportunity to transform those lives. I had the opportunity to give them something else. I was not going to just pay $10,000 for a dog, especially because I didn't have $10,000. I didn't. I swear to God, I didn't. And when I mentioned to a friend, he said, well, I'll buy that dog for you and we're co-owners. And I said, no, I don't want to have co-ownership. Let me do my thing. No, why are you going to keep partner and divide everything you make? Because that was my partnership with him. I'm going to bring him here. I'm going to make him shine, and we're going to share every cent. And this is what I did. I brought Klaus here in a partnership with the breeder. He trusted me, the dog, and I trusted him, because this is something that you got to have some trust involved, right? It's not, you're not going to just, hey, Earl, what's up? Earl is here with us tonight, Sumo Bully Kennels. Good evening, my friend. So you got to have trust. You're not just going to find somebody. And the fact that I'm Brazilian, that helped a lot with the communication. You know, I have a feeling, my gut feeling is very high with Brazilian people, because I know these people better than anyone. So I was able to really, I'm thankful for the trust, because he sent me with nothing. I actually gave him, I think, $2,000, and I paid for the transport. He sent me his best production ever. And his only way of maybe becoming famous was through Klaus, even though Klaus' dad was still alive. And guys, I think 4 or 5 months after Alex sent me Klaus, guess what happened? His only stud left was Klaus' dad. He passed on an accident. And that totally destroyed their program. So not that destroyed their program, they still had other, males, but not even close to the quality of Klaus' dad and Klaus. So now he doesn't have Klaus' father, which is Komodo, and he doesn't have Klaus because Klaus is here. But he had me. He had my word. So every sale that I did with that dog, I sent him half. For 1 year, I sent him 50% of every stud. And I'm going to tell you right now, I started charging, I think, $3,500 for Klaus, and then $5,000, and then $10,000. In 1 year, I was able to provide for that family $17,500. That's how much in deposits we made, because not all of the studs were completed at that time. And it doesn't seem like a lot of money nowadays, but we're talking 4 years ago, and 17,500 in Brazilian money is equivalent to 87,000 reais, which was a pretty high amount for that time. And then, and when Klaus was supposed to go back, because the partnership was only for a year, I actually said to him, I cannot let this dog go. I love him. Klaus is my baby. He sleeps in the house. He changed so much because he was very shy. And now all of a sudden he's happy. He's not that he wasn't happy, but he was very shy here in the few. He lost a lot of weight when he came here. Like all my dogs, they come here, they don't eat. For 2 or 3 months, they eat very little. And then they start raising the weight. I just posted a video of Mandibulo, by the way. The guy is 135 pounds already. He was 118 when he got here. But I know that he can reach 140 easy. It's just because, they lose weight on the trip. They lose weight in the transition of being with other handlers. By the time he gets here, it's like a month later. And Klaus went through that. So I was very, very sad to let him go. And I cried. I cried because I said, he said to me, Aurea, I want Klaus back. And Klaus was my baby. And I said, oh my God, I don't think I can let him go. But if you want him, that's fine. And he said, or you can buy him to me. If you really like him, I let you buy him to me. And so we agreed on a price. And I paid him $20,000 extra for Klaus. And that was cheap. That was cheap compared to everything that Klaus made for me. So I provided to that family during 1 year, $37,500. which in Brazil is, just to make things easier, 190,000 reais. And with that money, they bought their own little ranch, their farm. They have a little farm now. So please, if you want to follow them and confirm all the story that I am telling you, my friends, I'm gonna write here, Canil Rocha. I think it's one underline, something like that. Canil Rocha, number 1 underline. I posted on YouTube. I didn't post it on Instagram. But anyways, just so you know, this is the story of Klaus, how I got him here. Now, what did I do to make this dog come here and shine like that? Let's rewind a little bit. Before Klaus, I had Chuck Norris, okay? He was my first ever American bully, and he's completely American. He's from Boss's Bigfoot. This one right here. Oh, where is he? Sorry, guys. I don't know how to deal with this here, with this. There. This last lilac try, that's my first XL bully. My dear Chuck Norris. Probably the best temperament I've ever seen in a dog as far as intelligence and loving and obedience. Chuck Norris is out of this world, and he lives today with my son nearby. He's still in the family. He comes here every weekend. He's still our baby. He's our baby, and he is amazing. So that was my first dog. He's actually Shake's grandfather's brother, littermate brother. And Chuck was my first stud because I bought him as 4 months old. And this is one of the tricks that I want to guide you guys. If you want to really invest in a dog to be a stud, there's only 2 ways. You either invest in your own puppies, meaning because investing in your own puppies is the best way for you to see them grow. But you cannot have just one. You have to keep 2, 3, 4. Ask Vito. Vito knows how we breeders, especially OG breeders, what we like to do. I have a litter of tractor here that I probably have, nobody knows, but I have 3 males that I'm holding on to. Of course, I have a couple of them priced really high because I don't want them to go, but I also have to have cash flow in my yard. But any of them I would like to keep until 6 months to a year. So what is the first step? And then we're going to go back to Klaus, okay? I just wanted to give you a background story about Klaus because we're going to go back there. So Chuck Norris, he was my first male, and I bought him as a 4 or 5 months old puppy, but I knew nothing about American bullies. I knew about structure, and I knew about conformation, and, but I knew nothing about this market. I was a newbie in this market. I made a lot of mistakes, but I'm happy that I did because this is what he taught me. And when I bought Chuck, all I knew is that I loved the color. I liked the parents, I liked the bloodline, and I could afford him. That's another thing, because if I were going to buy something a little higher caliber, I was looking at $20,000 puppies everywhere. And that was the time that, post-COVID, that everybody was selling puppies at $20, $15, and they were very popular. So I found that opportunity, and actually Lucas Pitcano, my friend, asked me for a dog. I looked for a dog for him, and the breeder offered me the second dog, and I said, no, I'm not going to buy him. I don't really like him. I think I told this story here before. I thought he had too much of a shorter muzzle and looked like a bulldog a little bit. Look at me. It's so funny how life spins, right? I'm like, no, he looks too much like a bulldog. Look where I am now, right? So Chuck came to me, and I decided to buy him because Lucas really liked King Wonka, the grandfather of Shake, and I helped him choose King Wonka. And then a few months later, I saw that Chuck Norris was still for sale, and he had lowered the price a little bit. And I said, well, I think this is going to be my first male. Should I have bought a female? Maybe, but I bought a male. And in the meantime, this is when I started transporting dogs from Brazil to here and looking at some of the Brazilian dogs and looking at the qualities and comparing to Chuck Norris. Well, guys, I'm going to tell you one thing. I was the most fur mama with Chuck. He was our baby. He would sleep in the house. I would make little videos. If you see my Instagram back in the days, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you're going to see Chuck as a baby being spoiled. But I was always very careful with one thing. And I think that this is the most important advice that a breeder will give you today. I was extremely important with his image since the get-go, because this is how I am. For me, even with my dogos, I started this mindset with my dogos, even though I always had amazing Dogo Argentinos, multiple champions. I had grand champions and Westminster champions. I mean, when you have dogs at that high, at that kind of caliber, you don't really need, you think that you don't need to worry too much about the images, but that's when you're wrong. These are the ones that you have to worry more about. Because if you are the mother or the dad of, I don't know, tell me a famous model. I'm going to go Gisele Bündchen. She's a Brazilian top model. She used to be from Victoria's Secret. If she's my daughter, I'm going to make sure that she always looks good because she's a top model. That's who sells the brand. And I'm sure that every brand that has her as a top model working for them will make sure that she doesn't look in a way that they don't want to. The same thing with our kennels. A lot of people think that as long as you have good dogs, that's all that matters. Well, guess what? I don't think anybody's here in this business just to have beautiful dogs. Everybody's here to be noticed. I think that's the first goal. Because if you have good dogs, unless you just want to breed for your own, like you want to breed them in your yard and you want to breed them for yourself, and you don't want to do photograph, you don't want to do promotion. But then I think that if you're that guy, you wouldn't be here in this live tonight. Am I right? So if you're here in this live tonight and you want to become popular with your program and popular with make a stud popular, the first thing that you should do, hey, Lauren is here. Let me put her on. Hi, mamas. Good evening.
Hey.
How are you? No worries.
Hey, how are y'all?
You're busy today, huh? A lot of work.
Lots of stuff going on. Unpredictable stuff. But
Okay, I just don't want to do. We're talking about the studs. I talked a little bit about how I started with Klaus for everyone coming in tonight. I told them the story of Klaus, and now I'm talking a little bit about Chuck Norris and how I was a newbie when I started with Chuck. So I'm just gonna mute your computer because it's kind of giving me a little echo. Is that okay?
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
I'm gonna continue the thoughts here so I don't forget. So as I was saying, Chuck Norris, he came to my program. I was a newbie. I was a fur mama, but I was always very careful, even with the fun videos, because he's my baby. He's gonna be in my mind. I have put all of my hope in that puppy. I had thought that maybe he will become a stud. And I'm not gonna lie, I still have people to this date that loves Chuck Norris. They would want a puppy if I had a litter of Chuck right now, it would probably be sold out, because not only he's got charisma. He's a dog that has charisma, especially if you meet him in person, and he's gorgeous and he produces beautiful puppies, beautiful XL American Bullies. And I'm not trying to sell anything here, but he's still open for stud, by the way. I'm not studying him out very often because, he's 6 years old. I'm not going to use him in my program anymore because I'm not doing American Bullies anymore. But he lives with my son, and he's the most precious dog and smart and very, very, very lucid dog. I don't know how I can say this, but mentally very healthy and very healthy in he's charismatic. He's happy. I mean, I have the funniest videos with him in my Instagram. You guys see the last video that I posted of him, we got 40 million views. It was him and a Shakes puppy. 40 million views on YouTube, about 9 million on Instagram. Chuck is really how do I say that, you guys? The word, it's everybody loves Chuck. I always say that. Do you remember a word for that, Lauren? For Chuck, like everybody loves him. He's a star in my program, even though he's not the main stud. But anyways, just to go back on how I treated Chuck, he didn't become a stud, not even close to Klaus and not even close to the other boys that I brought later. But with him, I noticed something. Marketing is very important. And no matter if the dog is a medium caliber or if it's a high caliber or if you have a bad dog, you guys, you have to have common sense. What I'm telling you here is not going to work if your dog has structural flaws, if your dog is atypical, meaning doesn't have breed type, doesn't have wow factor. We're talking seriously, for a dog to be successful, you got to have at least these three things. It's going to be wow factor. And how do we know wow factor? He's got to be different. He's got to be impacting or different in some ways. Some people call wow factor a dog that has huge muscular shoulders and a big head. Okay, that's a wow factor. But if you have a dog that is a little cleaner, but has a stupid, crazy coloring, that might be a wow factor too. Why not? Right? As long as the dog is correct. Now, there's the wow factor, the negative wow factor, that the dog is so ugly or so bad structure that you're gonna say, wow, you don't want that. But I'm sure that you're gonna have common sense to understand if your dog has any flaws that will impact on promoting him as a stud dog. And I'm gonna tell you guys, it's not easy to promote a dog in the same level of Klaus, Tractor, Puma, Shake, but mind you, Klaus and Shake and Tractor, I bought. Basically, I didn't buy Shake, but I joined in the program with Shake. He wasn't my production. Now, producing your dog is even more difficult, but on the other hand, it's easier for you to make a choice. And it's cheaper, because if you're producing your males and you have an eye for dogs and you're patient, that's another thing. Don't want to sell all your dogs. You got to keep at least the two best ones. You have to have the breeder's knowledge that it takes for you to select correct. So that's the first thing, is selecting. Now, if you are not even close of breeding and having a litter, but you want to start your program with a boy, again, I'm going to repeat what I repeated there back in the last live. Try to purchase an older dog, because buying puppies is for pet homes or for people that really don't have a way to buy an older dog, or to get into that bloodline without being on a waiting list. It happens a lot. But I have to be honest with you. I would never buy a puppy as a pick if I have the choice to buy from that same program as an older puppy. Okay. And why do I say that? The earlier it is, the harder it is for you to understand the traits that the dog is going to turn out to be. So they all look beautiful. They all have big heads. They all have big shoulders. But what if I told you that, especially in Brazilian bulls, these dogs, they change so much that the chances that you have of making the wrong choice is much higher than another breed that is standard breed, especially because they are scatterbred. They have different breeds behind, so they're going to produce different types. They're going to produce different phenotypes. And as puppies, if you don't understand the development, the growth development of this breed, and who does, because this is a new breed, so no matter how experienced we are, even Vito doesn't know the growth curve of this breed yet. Am I right, Vito?
You never know. They're like snowflakes. They're all different.
And they can change a lot.
The superstar at 8 weeks sometimes turns out to be blasé, and the runt or the puppy you didn't even think about turned out to be a superstar. You just never know.
Well, Shake was the smallest in the litter. What if I tell you that? You know, that's one example right there. Klaus wasn't. Klaus was different from the minute that he was born. I saw that when he was a baby, he was different in everything. So there are parameters, but Klaus had more of a line breeding, even though he was in the background. You know, we're talking gaudy line on both sides, and then we were talking some pit monster that were correlated in both generations there. So maybe that was a good sign. But if you're talking Brazilian bulls, the modern Brazilian bulls, they have a lot of hybrid vigor, and it's very easy for you to misunderstand what the puppies are. So sometimes that puppy that looked amazing when he was a puppy, you start looking at him and he start turning the ugly duck at 4 or 5 months, and the one that was the runt start turning out to be the superstar between the 4 and the 5, 6 months old. So this is why I have probably 5 males that I've kept from both of my litters. I mean, 3 males from Cafeína with my partners, because I didn't want to let them go. We sold some of them. And sorry about my dog's snoring here. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? That's Viviana.
I thought that was my stomach growling. I thought, oh, I should have eaten something.
No, that's Vivi. So I believe that if you have an option to, if your goal is to start a breeding program with a female, go for the pigs. You just go for the pigs, because females, it's hard. You're never going to go wrong. You know, what can go wrong with a male can go wrong with a female, but as females, you never go wrong, because the female just has to be correct and clean and good mothers, and usually they are, especially coming from this breed, we never had too many problems. Now, if you're trying to start with a male for the purpose of maybe studying him out, the older the puppy, the better. And this is why serious breeders keep older puppies to be available for other breeders. But mind you, the older the puppy, if the better the puppy, the higher price it will be too, because you're getting something almost ready. You know what you're getting. A puppy is a surprise. You know, if you're buying a puppy, it's almost like a Pandora box. You don't know what you're getting, so you're paying for that. Now, if you are getting an older puppy, you almost have an idea of what that 5, 6, 7 months old puppy is going to be. And that's also an advice for you, breeder, that tend to sell all of your dogs. Stop doing that, because if you stop doing that, you're going to start becoming like Samba Kennels. We have older puppies for breeder purposes only. We sell for breeders with their puppies, yes, because a lot of people cannot afford them when they're a little older. But we also select some older dogs for serious breeders that don't want to deal with a puppy. They want to see what they're getting. So if you want to start your program with a boy, you either invest in your own litter and you select 2 or 3 boys and let them grow either with you or keep one with your friend, with your family, with your mother, with your, niece, whatever. Keep them in the family and watch them grow. And most importantly, don't be kennel blind, because I think that what differentiates a good breeder or the success of breeders is exactly the kennel blindness. When you think that your dogs are the best and they're not, that's already 50% of you not having the success that you need to go on, because that stud is not going to make it if you think that he's gorgeous and he's got an A-frame, or he's got, super high rear, or he's got weird conformation, whatever it is, but you don't see it. You are the first one to be fooling yourself, and that dog is never going to make it. But okay, let's hypothetically think that we have a dog that is correct, that is good looking, that has the attributes to contribute to another program. And it has some of the wow factor that we're talking about. And the wow factor, what is a wow factor for you might not be for me, and vice versa. I believe that being different sometimes is more of a wow factor than being a really wow factor at itself. So when Klaus came, he was a wow factor dog because he was completely different than what everybody saw. And he had structural flaws, but they were not too impacting in a way to not make him successful the way he was, right? Now, if you have a dog that, let's go back with Chuck. So just so you remember, Chuck, I posted a video of him first in his first year. He was about 9 months old. The video is not very, it was here in my backyard. It had a little bit of snow. And, oh no, that was another one. He just had his tail wiggling. Is that the word? Wiggling?
Wagging.
Yeah. Wagging or wiggling?
Wiggling. Could say wiggling, but.
Okay, he had his tail wagging. And I positioned myself in an angle that all of the trees in the background, and I was like in a third. I want everybody posting pictures of your dogs in 3/4. Is that the word? 3/4? The 3/4 pictures are the ones that I like the best, that you show the attributes of your male the better in any dog, just because you can get a good idea of the chest spread, you can get a good idea of the top line, and usually the images should be on chest level or face level. You don't want to get too close to them just to make them bigger, because it doesn't work. I do believe that the images from far distance work better. And that video of Chuck Norris hit 1 million in my first 6 months, I think 6 months of Instagram. And I noticed something. I noticed that it was the whole setup. So being in a competitive program, being in a competitive industry like we are, especially now that we have kennels popping up here and there, and most of them are just dog salespeople. They're not even breeders. They have money, they buy a whole bunch of dogs, and they pretend that they're breeders, and they are not. It takes years for you to build reputation. It takes years for you to understand genetics, to understand type, to understand health, to understand managing your kennel, your dogs, your whelping, and this is, it's hard for me to just pass everything to you in 1-2 hours here, because there is a lot that went on before I became promoting my studs. But I think my first time that I felt that I could promote my stud and I could be successful was with Chuck Norris' video when he hit 1 million views. So I do tell you guys, that was the first step. That was what I said, wow. And then I had a lot of people calling me for Chuck. Oh, I want puppies. Not as many breeders, but I had a lot of people wanting puppies from that video. So it rang a bell, and I said, okay, this dog, this video, that's what caught my attention. And for social media nowadays, you have to stand out. You have to stand out. And how do you stand out? By posting the best images of your dogs, especially your studs, because one bad image will ruin him right there forever, you know? Well, that was Chuck. It brought my attention, and then I went through what I went through to get Klaus here. And then with Klaus, I was always watching him and understanding his angles, his movement. He had structural flaws, and a lot of people picked on that, but they weren't bad enough for him to not be a reproducer, and he is. Look at Viviana, my girl, that's right now snoring here. She listened to me. And look at Tetra, look at all the puppies that he left with Sumo, and they're beautiful, and they're beautiful structured. As a breeder, you need to work with dogs with flaws, because those flaws, it's your duty to make them better, to better the breed. So basically, have your stud. If you're going to buy him, try to buy him a little older. If you're going to invest on your program, keep at least 2 puppies, 3 puppies. I've said that 1,000 times here. Another thing is, guys, are they snoring too loud? If they are, I can put my microphone on. Is she snoring too loud?
White noise. It's just white noise to me.
Yeah. Oh, we're just used to it. So basically, I would really tell you to first select the right dog. And how you're going to do that, you're either going to buy one. If you buy one with that intention, make sure to get an older puppy so you know what you're getting. If not, if you're selecting from your own program, make sure to keep at least 2 or 3, even though you think that there's one that's like this sensation of the litter. I would definitely wait more and keep 2 or 3, because you never know. They might really turn out to be the ugly duck, might become to be the stud, and then the really big one that everybody goes by size turns out to be a mastiff looking dog, which is okay. Nothing against the mastiffs, but if you're in the mastiff breed, if you are in Brazilian bulls, you don't want any mastiffy traits. You want tight skin, you want tight muscle or muscle expression, you want masseters, you want to see the lines, and you don't when you have so much density of skin in a mastiff, mastiffy trait. So one thing, choose your dog. Second, promote it from the beginning. You got to be careful since he's a baby, guys. Not just, since you start promoting him with the right pictures, the right videos, the right angles. Now, another thing is train your dog. Train your dog to be a good dog in public, because you will need to take him to shows. You will need to have people socializing. The show is there for people to promote their studs, and you have to use that tool more, right? Just a second, guys. I have to open the door for my cat that is whining here. Vito, do you want to make a comment about what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have a question for you when we get back, but
okay, I'll be right back. Come on.
hopefully Viviana doesn't eat the cat.
No, Vivi's in a crate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's crated.
Let me ask you a question about studs. In this breed, because a stud, if you're starting a kennel, there's nothing really, I mean, in this type of dog, having a awesome stud you know, even if you're not wanting to stud them out, that's not your lane. If you're just wanting to sell your puppies as fast as possible and breed better dogs, what type of stud should you be shooting for? Should you be shooting for a really clean show dog that moves great, has really superior structure, or you want a dog with the muscle? You want a dog that's just jacked looking? You want just a dog that scares the shit out of people? He's just a wow factor, as you guys call him.
I think the wow factor is the number one criteria for a stud to stand out from the others, because people will love a show dog, but if you put a clean show dog beside a freak, especially, I'm talking our breed, okay? And I do have very many examples here. A show dog can have wow factor, but not necessarily the wow factor dog will be a show dog. You know, usually wow factor dogs, they are exaggerated in some traits, and this is what we call the hypertype dogs. That's what I call hypertyped. They are extreme, and extreme dogs many times are not necessarily correct, especially if you have, you know, a very wide shoulder. You tend to have a little higher rear, or if they have muscles that are, you know, Shake, for example. Shake was a freak, although he was correct enough to be in a show, and we took him to a show and he won a few rings. He did very well for his first time. We didn't want to make him a champion. We just wanted to show him in the show ring, because some people used to say that he was this and that, and he proved that not only he was, you know, what he was good at the ring. But I do believe, Vito, that the first factor that will make your stud stand out is the wow factor. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that maybe the wow factor dog is going to be the number one selling dog in America for that type, for that breed, for that class. Not everybody, I mean, a lot of breeders would love to have a number one selling stud in America. Who doesn't, or in the world? And I am very thankful for the dogs that I promoted and I bred and that I bought, or that I produced, or, you know, I have dogs, and most of my dogs are successful. But I think that has also to do not only with my selection, because I selected right. So a breeder is not just producing. If you are a great breeder to produce big litters or to produce great litters, but you are not a good breeder when it comes to selection, you know what's good? I mean, you sell everybody, or you don't know how to select, and you always keep selecting the wrong dogs. And this is okay in the beginning. This is why we're here to learn, right? And I selected the wrong dogs in the first couple of litters that I had. And it's okay. It's okay for you to learn. Like I said, we don't know the growth curve of this breed. I was a newbie when I started, and I learned a lot with my mistakes. But if you really want to be professional, if you really want to be not a puppy peddler or a person that just wants to make money with dogs, if you really want to have a program and have successful studs, then you really have to have more than just money to buy a good stud, because that doesn't make you a breeder, honey. I'm sorry. You might have $1 million and buy the biggest studs in the world. You're still not going to be a breeder and make the most beautiful videos and promote your dogs. You have to have a lot more that people don't talk about. And this is the next topic that we're going to talk about in a little bit, because it has to do with the responsibility of being a stud owner as a breeder. And this is the second thing that's the most important after having a good stud. And what I was saying is, a lot of people want to have a it's very hard for you to have a world famous stud. But let's be a little conservative and talk to most people here that have good studs but don't know how to promote them. And I believe that if you have a stud that sells 4 studs a year, that's a successful stud. If you can sell, if you can sell 4 or 5, promote your stud and sell to help other programs, an average of 4 to 6 a year, that's extremely successful. And this is the people that I want to talk to. You don't have to have a Klaus or a Shake. I mean, you would love to, but let's be very factual, and let's be moderate, because to have a Klaus or a Shake is like, it's, for me, I think it's one in a lifetime, or twice or 3 times, but because I know exactly what I'm doing. But it is not something that's going to happen to everybody that's watching here. And I want to make sure that I help everyone that's watching here with that purpose. As long as you have a good dog, just follow a few steps and you're going to be successful. And one of the steps is the selection. The second step is the promotion. The third step is, okay, now you made a dog famous. You promoted him. You have good pictures only. Guys, don't be emotional. Don't be emotional. We don't have pet owners here anymore that the dog is so cute. Look how he's laying, and he's all crooked and he's being funny, and then you take a picture. That's not being professional. This is why most people don't make it. And then your dog has the freaking hair up high, and he looks totally different than that beautiful picture that you posted before. And then imagine what's going to happen to the image of your dog. So being careful with the image of your dog is so important. And I'm not saying that you don't have to show the dog in raw videos and stuff like that, but you have to show him with the vision that you're showing the best of him and not the worst of him, because it will impact on the promotion of your dogs. Vito, did you want to say something?
Yeah, on that subject, you sell puppies to people and you always hope they send you pictures. And of course, what happens? They always send you pictures. The dog's laying on the couch, or he's like turning his head, and he just looks. And I was judging a show many years ago in Texas. And, one of my customers I always kept in touch with had messaged me, sent me another crappy picture of the dog I sold. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in Texas, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, long story short, he shows up with my dog. And I'm thinking, oh, God, I don't know if I want anybody to see that dog, because like I said, every picture he sent, it's 2 inches from his nose, or the dog's laying or sleeping upside down, or you couldn't tell anything. From the pictures he sent me, I wasn't proud of the dog. Man, he showed up at that show, and I'm telling you, there was like a crowd of people 3 rows deep, and he was freaking out. He's like, what are they, what's the deal? And I'm like, man, he looks nothing like the pictures he sent me. I couldn't recognize the dog. So that is one thing you learn. You kind of, and that's what I'm trying to learn right now, is take your time and get the right pictures. I mean, you're not going to change a dog if he's, not a good dog. Your pictures. I mean, sometimes you can. I've seen dogs I've seen them in person and they just look like a harp seal with legs. They don't look like anything. But man, they because they're wide in the front, they take really good pictures. But on the other hand, you can get a really good dog and you can just screw it up. So pictures.
That's true.
Today's pictures are a big deal. When I started, if you wanted pictures, you had somebody sent you Polaroids. Then they invented the VCR, and we started sending tapes of dogs, and that's how you bought your dog. And nowadays, everything's just a picture off of the internet. So if your pictures suck, people are going to think your dogs suck.
Yeah, that's true. Especially now with AI. I mean, the dogs. I mean, I'm not against using AI to to promote a stud, but one picture that you do enhancement on the lighting, on the coloring, on the clarity, on you enhance the quality of the picture. I actually have a prompt that I will share with you guys. I don't think I can share it right now. I don't know what happened to Samba Kennel's Instagram. It's not live. Can you guys check if it's live, Lauren, please? Because I might have to disconnect and connect again. So I do have a prompt, because if you do the right prompt, especially on ChatGPT, to just make the picture visually more appealing, it will work without changing the morphology of the dog, you know? Is it, Lauren? No?
No, it's not.
Okay, let me end my one here, and I'm gonna try to start again. Something went wrong. Play again. Sorry, guys. I don't know why we are out on Instagram. Yeah, I noticed that went out. But anyways, let's talk the AI thing. AI is a great tool for you to fix a picture that has, you know, a little blurry. I don't see it as a negative. I mean, I don't like the little AI videos all the time, or, you know, where I don't like anything that changes the morphology of the dog. But if you have a picture and you think that picture looks so good, but damn, the background looks ugly, you change the background nowadays easily on ChatGPT or Gemini, you know, and this is, you know, this is a tool that we can really use for the best, but we cannot use it for, if you're changing morphological traits, then you're fooling not others, but you're fooling yourself, you know. I have used sometimes enhancement of quality and lighting, and I will try to post somewhere, maybe in my stories on Instagram. It will go directly to Facebook. I will try to post a prompt that if you want to give a picture like a professional look, it even says the lenses and what it should change, what it should not change. And that's what most people don't know. Oh, every time I use AI, it changes my dog's morphology. So you shouldn't be using AI because everything that's AI. No, AI is there to help you, not to change your dogs. And another deal is, if you use it once and you don't like the results, and if you keep trying, then it's going to change it. So you have to start a new chat and say, hey, please change, enhance the quality, the clarity, and the lighting on this picture. Remove any distractions, something like that, because it will remove the color. This is great. Everybody should be using that to enhance the quality of your pictures. I don't think anything that this is at all negative, as long as you don't change the morphology of the dog. It is not cheating or anything. It's actually the opposite. You're just enhancing your product. You know, if you go to a supermarket and you see their little newspapers there, they don't have the food laying around it anyway. They have they actually have a profession that they have people that prepare the photos of the food to be in that little magazine. You know, it's just like any other professional deal. You know, if you want to portray your dogs, you have to try to portray them the best possible. Don't be emotional and just post them like, you know, in a pet position, looking stupid with the tongue down, and I don't like pictures that, you know, when I do portray my studs, for example, for banners, I don't like banners with the mouth open. You can see this banner here. Let me just put myself for a second, because I want to show. I don't think there's any dog with the. See, there's no dogs with the mouth open, because this is how you see the conformation and the design of their heads, right? So You see the stance, you see the posture, like, you know, they're looking like they're ready to do a photo shoot. Exactly. So that's the second thing. So first is selection, and then we have the promotion. And promotion is not just videos and pictures, you guys. It's like I said, there's a whole lot of work behind promoting a dog. You have to train your dog so it acts right when you go out with him. You know, you don't want your stud jumping on everybody, or if it's a dog that's a little bit more, you know, spicy with other dogs, you don't want that dog biting other dogs in a dog show or growling. So you have to make sure that your stud is sociable and trained to go to public spaces, because another way of promotion is also the dog shows. Even if you're not showing the dog, that's where most people, if you want to become popular, and you have to show up, you have to show your stud. Otherwise, it's not going to make a difference, honestly. You know, like you might have a couple of studs here and there from social media, but when people see your dog and they say, damn, that dog is really nice, the word spreads really fast, and the word spreads really nicely. You know, it's positive. It's very positive for the studs to be seen. So anytime that there's a dog show in your area and you can take your stud, make sure to take a nice crate. Don't take the dog and just be walking with him on a leash here and there. If that's all you can do, that's fine too. But take him in a crate, leave him on a crate, put a blanket on top of him so he's not stressed out. And every once in a while, then you take him out for people to see so he's not super tired. You know, this is what I do with my studs. Because mind you, every time I go out with my studs in a show, there's usually like 100 people lined up to see them and take pictures. And that's another thing. Should they be taking pictures of your stud? Depending on how popular they are, I'm very careful with pictures, because I know there's a lot of haters. But if you're just starting, it's okay to let people take pictures with your dog. I think that, you know, when Shake was in the beginning of Shake's career here, I wouldn't let anybody take pictures of him, because I knew that there was a lot of hate already. And I knew that people could just do it on a bad intention. But after he was, you know, when he was leaving, I took him to a show and I let everybody take pictures of him, because no matter what they did to him, they couldn't take his kingdom away anymore. You feel me? Vito, can you, did you ever promote a stud yourself, Vito? You have many popular studs.
You know, I am so old, I came up before the internet. And when I started in American Bulldogs, it was kind of a rare breed. And I produced a couple noteworthy dogs in the beginning. And I wonder how people found me. I don't know. I sold all my puppies real fast, and it just was a different time. So I've never really learned. Like tonight, when the subject was this, I'm like, oh shit, I'm. That's why I'm here. That's why when you asked if I wanted to partner up, I'm like, yeah, this, because now I understand. I'm like a dinosaur. I don't know too much about social media. I don't know a lot about promotion. I'm clueless, you know. I thought I knew how to take pictures. Now I'm learning all kinds of things from you about things I didn't know my phone would do, you know, changing the 4K to HD to 4K and all that kind of stuff. I never even thought about it. And so it's a different game. You know, you can say it's a different game. But when I started in American Bulldogs, it was so rare, and I quickly became somebody that was an authority in the breed and produced good dogs. And I kind of just rode the wave for many years. So I actually I used to be so busy. Used to have a lot of dogs. I used to, you know, work a job or two, and so I never studied my dogs. I really didn't want to. I didn't want to keep anybody's dog. I didn't want to mess with it because back then it's $1,000, $1,500 stud fee. And it just, you can't take off work to do all this stuff. And then I don't know, it drove me nuts. And, we talk about selecting dogs. When I was in American Bulldogs, when I first started, of course, the first couple generations, I just wanted a big, giant freak. But as I was in it for a while, I had this mindset because I came from Dobermans when I was a kid. And so I wanted that. I wanted to make this breed a dog that was structured great, moved great, and could live up to the history of its working potential. And that's just not where the breed was. Most of the dogs were cowhocked. They had funky front ends, bad angulation, bad top lines, all kinds of stuff. Because it was just bred for a while there for how big it was and how big its head it was and how bully they were. So, well, about 20 years ago, I had a puppy I kept. He was a beautiful pup, big, thick puppy. His name was Blue Ballistic. He might be on the internet, I think still, and at the same time, I produced a dog that was, going to be a great conformation dog, but he wasn't quite as outrageous as Blue Ballistic. And when Blue Ballistic was maturing at 5 months, again at about 8 months, I almost sold him. I almost put him in a pet home because he was a big bone puppy. He was really wide in the front. His muscle didn't come in yet. So between his elbows and his rib cage was hollow. He moved. He looked like a polar bear when he ran. And, but I kept him, and like 2 or 3 times, I almost got rid of him. And that dog, when he fully matured, he's kind of like the prototype of these dogs. He was a freak. He had a giant head that was like 28 inches. He was probably 23, maybe 22 and a half, 116, 118 pounds, and just huge neck, shoulders, fat ass. He had incredibly tight hips. He was a great dog. He just wasn't a show dog. If I never took him to show. As a matter of fact, I never took him off my property. I never took many pictures of him. The pictures of him on the internet are other people. When I used to let people come to my house, they took pictures of him. And I didn't promote him. Everything was this dog BMJ. That was my passion. I wanted to produce a really, really correct, awesome, structured, great moving dog.
Now, let me ask you a question, and this is very important. You produced amazing dogs. You were reference for many people for many years in your breed, and you still are. You are what we call the OG of the American Bulldogs. Now, let's pretend that, you still have your American Bulldog program, and you're always going to be producing great dogs, even though we go through evolution. And I always say that the market defines the direction of the breeds. Sometimes we are more like purists, and we tend to keep our bloodlines, and I'm talking as a Dogo Argentino breeder. I used to keep my bloodline always pure within the traits that I loved. And I probably, if I were to this day, I have a litter of Dogos right now with a partner, but if I were only breeding Dogos right now, it doesn't matter what would be the trend, what would be the hype, what would be the new thing with Dogos. I would still be breeding my Dogos the way I've always bred them, because this is what I believe that is right for the breed. And I'm sure you do the same. Now, for these designer breeds that we talk about, these newer breeds that are very ruled by the market and by demand. Do you agree with me that if you want to be successful in the Brazilian bulls as a Brazilian bull breeder, if you don't follow the market, how do I say, not the hype, but if you don't follow the standards of the market, even if you have great dogs and you're not seen, you're not going to be remembered and you're not going to be successful, correct?
Yeah, that, the American Bulldog is a good kind of, it's a weird dichotomy because there's two types. One type is kind of houndy, pit bully, very functional dog. It's called the standard type. And then
Is that your type? That's your type. That's your type, right?
No, I had the Johnson Bully type. I started with the really extreme Johnson Bully type.
Mm-hmm.
I had no
Oh,
interest.
so they are even, the standard type is even less.
The standard type looks more like a doggo pit bull cross, more moderate. They're originally what the breed was. What happened was a guy that promoted the breed and tried to preserve the breed, called John D. Johnson. He put his own spin on it. He put some huge Mastiff St. Bernard in there. And in the 70s, the guy that started the Old English Bulldogs, he leased females from him and bred them to English Bulldogs and gave the ones he didn't keep to Mr. Johnson. And Mr. Johnson just incorporated them into his dogs. So they changed. So there's two types. One type is kind of a manufactured type. It's kind of like the prototype to the Brazilian Bulls. Sunshine Bull.
Did Mr. Johnson, just so we don't get too much out of the scope of the conversation, did Mr. Johnson stud out his boys?
Oh, yeah, he would.
And how would he promote them at that time? Because we didn't have internet.
Only thing he would do was, and there used to be a magazine called Dog World, and in the back of Dog World, there was either, you could take out a picture ad. You could take the whole page out if you want to pay that much money. But every month he had a picture of this dog called, he had a couple of different dogs, but he had this dog called Elrod. And I don't know, it was a weird picture. His front legs were spread really far apart, and he was kind of turning, and he had him advertised 150 pounds and all this stuff. And people bought the crap out of dogs, but off that picture. But if you saw him in person, he didn't look like that picture. His front end wasn't that wide. He was a tall, mastiffy type of dog. I
really want to talk about the next before we distract too much, because people are waiting here for me to tell how we built this stud program or a stud. And I have a message here from Earl Sumo Bulicanos. I have used Klaus Tractor, Chuck Norris, and Shake. He used all of our studs so far, and there's more to come, right, Earl? So I appreciate you, Vito, for sharing that with us. I mean, it is a different breed, but what I was trying to say here is that really, at the end of the day, in this business, if you are not, you're going to have to show your dogs better. You're going to have to show your studs better. You're going to have to study them. You're going to have to study their angles, you study their movements, and whether you like it or not, the competition is here, is bigger, and you have one way of competing. And to start with is right here. It's with social media. That's how your dogs are going to be seen. After they're seen on social media, you have to start taking them to shows, preferably to show your dog. I mean, to participate in the competition. If you are new to this and you don't know how to do it, at least take them to the dog show, like I was saying. Now, okay, now your dog is good. He's clean. Everybody likes him. Good dog. Go to shows. Perfect. He's becoming popular. Everybody knows who he is. People start showing him taking pictures with him and showing, hey, I got a picture with this guy. He's super nice. And the third factor is knowledge in the stud business. There's no way that you're going to be successful having a stud if you don't understand the business and every aspect of the business, every aspect involving owning a stud. Owning a stud the business start with a contract. Everybody should provide or should demand a stud contract. Now, how do we do their stud contracts? Well, that's a whole new episode that I could go clause by clause, but I'm not going to do it here. because I will provide, maybe I could provide mentorship on this topic for very limited people. If you're interested, because then I can teach you about all the maneuvers of how to deal with being a stud manager or stud owner, because there's contracts, there is health testing that you have to do. There is guarantees that you have to understand very well. The legal part is also very important. You have to understand your side of your business. This is a business, This is not a way of just making an extra buck to change your tires. We're talking responsibility. We're having money in your pocket to provide your genetics to another program. So you have to do the best customer service possible for the other side of the line, the other side of the deal. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong. And I'm telling you, in this Excel bully community, guys, you might have the best freaking dogs, but you have the shittiest fucking owners. And I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, but I have dealt with people, and I have heard so many stories of people coming to me that they have this champion this and champion that, or they have this amazing freaky dog. But the things that I've heard of how they dealt with the clients, are you stupid? You have a freaking dog that is amazing, but you can't be loyal and honest on your business? You're going to send dead semen to your client? You're going to send, you're going to send semen of another dog instead of yours? Are you stupid? Or you're not going to take the phone call when they need you because they freaking need you tomorrow? They invested 6 months in waiting for that breeding. And when they call you, you fucking ghost on them? I'm sorry, I'm mad, because I remember people doing that to friends of mine, to breeders that are friends of mine. And this is unacceptable. And this is where your success stops right there. If you don't do your due diligence to be responsible with your breeding program, responsible to other people first, because they're depending on you as a stud owner and your reputation. You have to be responsible and be there when the other party needs you, so basically, if they call you, you have to have your vet ready. You have to have your stuff ready. And if you don't have your vet, or if you don't collect yourself, you better learn. That's what I did. I started learning myself. I didn't know how to do it. And I had so many people wanting Klaus in 2022. And what did I do? I went to a vet once, and Klaus could not collect. And I had somebody that had his hard-earned money, and it was a lot of money. It was $7,500 at that time, that he paid in full for me to send the material to the vet the next day. And guess what? My boy didn't pull. Am I embarrassed? No, that can happen to anyone. This is one of the things that as a dog breeder, as a stud owner, you're going to have to deal with, and you're going to have to be prepared. I've already told you this story here once or twice. You know what I did? As a responsible stud owner, as a person that has respect for the client, because I was already paid and he was waiting for me. Am I going to say, hey, my boy didn't pull? No, I'm going to find a way. If there's a way, there's a will. If there's a will, there's a way. I hopped on a plane the next morning, the first hour, 5 a.m, I flew to Atlanta with Klaus. And I met him in the vet with my boy, and he got 12 puppies out of that breeding. So, does it tell you anything? How many breeders would do that for you? How many breeders? This is not about just being a good breeder. This is about being a good business person. This is about loyalty. This is about honesty, transparency, and reputation. Because sometimes some people will not they will hang up the phone or they will turn off the phone and say, oh, something happened, and they will run away from their responsibilities. They were right on top of you when they needed that freaking deposit, weren't they? But when they need you to be there, you got to be there. That's the third most important rule about if you want to have a stud, be a man first, be a woman first of your word. Because you're not going to have good reputation if you leave somebody waiting. If you leave somebody waiting for this. You know? And if I hear of people doing that, I'm going to let everybody know, because you're my competitor and you're doing this to me, and people sometimes are going to you instead of going to me. I'm going to let people know. So you better treat your clients right, because this is competition. You know, this is a business like any other one. I'm not scared of competition because I don't need to be. I don't even need this. But if somebody asks me about you, I'm going to say, hey, don't do business with that dude. He turned off his phone when my friend needed it. And then another one said, oh, I don't have the box. You know, when I don't have, I collect myself because I don't want to depend on vets. I don't want to have to go to a vet and guess what? I don't ship with FedEx only. I have accounts with airlines, because if you need it on a Sunday, I'm going to be there for you. If you need it on a Saturday and for Sunday, I'm going to be there. It's going to be there on the same day. I ship to you in the same day. And how do I do that? I'll teach you on my mentorship. But how did I find out how to do it? Because of necessity. I needed to commit to my clients. I learned it the hard way. I learned my way of doing things by myself. Nobody taught me, you know. I needed one of my clients in Hawaii said, hey, I need this to be here tomorrow. And Hawaii is like 2 days delivery. It's just the flight itself, it's 7 hours, you know. So guys, you gotta make it for your own. You gotta learn how to pull. You gotta learn where to buy, what to buy, how to extend, how to ship. You're never gonna have to depend on vets anymore. You don't have to depend on FedEx or UPS if you have the 24/7 airline waiting for you for your package if you have to go there. Well, it's not 24/7, but if you live near a big city, I'm sure you can make it happen. So be a person of your word. And this is what is lacking in this industry as a whole. This industry is very, I don't know how to say this, but a lot of people that want to charge high prices, that want to brag that they are the best, but they are very disrespectful. I think that disrespectful is the word. And if I can say something, if you want to, this is why I wanted to bring this up for you here, because it's not just about having a wow factor dog. It is not just that. It's a whole different business than just breeding. You have to understand the business. You have to understand what to guarantee, how to guarantee. You know, we have some really big stud owners, the biggest stud programs. The guys are super shady. You can't talk to them. You can't really understand, you know, the terms of the contract. They're shady. People are shady in this industry, especially some big names out there. They will hang up the phone on you. They're not gonna, you know, they're gonna come back to you and say, oh, I don't have the stud anymore. You're gonna have to use frozen, you know. I mean, now I have to come up with another $1,000 plus the surgical that I was going to do a TCI, and you know, last minute with a female that is not ready to do frozen. No, give my money back. Oh, but I'm keeping you my deposit. And I said, okay, keep my deposit. I lost a breeding because of that, a planned breeding, and the deposit was $2,500. And then he said to me, no, it's going to have to be frozen because the dog had an accident. And I said, but I told you yesterday that she was ready, and yesterday you didn't tell me. And now that I'm telling you to send me the package, you say that it's going to be frozen. My girl is ready to breed in 2 days. So how do you expect these people are going to be? The reputation is very important. Reputation is very important. And there's one thing, you can talk bad about all of my studs. You can talk bad about anything about me. You never gonna hear me or hear somebody say that I freaked somebody over. because this is something that I would never do. And that's where your success starts. Because everything we do here, we pay here. So you better start doing it right, you know? But anyways, that's it, guys. I think that after you have a good stud, it's not just about having a good stud, it's understanding the business, is having the business ready for the challenges that may come up. And the challenges, we mean, you know, your stud's semen sometimes is not looking as good and you have an opportunity to offer something else. I had one client, and I'm not going to disclose names here, but about, I think it was last year, I don't know, that he bought one of my studs, and one of my studs was sick with a fever and with infection for a couple of months. And 2 months later, this client came to me and he said, she's ready. And I said, okay. So I collected the dog. And this is no shame, guys. These are things that you're going to have to deal with in your breeding program or with your stud program. Luckily, I have beautiful dogs here and I can do that. So you have, if you want to be a stud owner, you have one, great. But who has one? I always say, if you have one, you have none. You have to have at least 2 or 3 studs. And one of my clients, he was going to use one of my dogs, and the stud, unfortunately, at that time, his numbers weren't, because I always test them at my house. I always, before I collect them, I test them, and the numbers were not right, and I didn't like what I saw. They were alive, there was motility, but I told him and I said, hey, I'm going to provide you with, at no extra cost, another stud. And he was actually happier because he really liked that stud. And I said, I'm actually going to give you a discount. And, I'm going to send you the 2 doses and you decide with your vet which one is good. So he went to the vet and the vet said both doses were viable, but the other stud was better. So perfect. He had a litter, he's happy, and everything worked out. But I was honest. Could I have sold him the other doses and sent him like that? And the vet would have still used it because it was viable. But I want the best for my clients. They put their trust and their money on me, and they chose me amongst so many other good people out there. So this is my transparency to my clients, So that's how I want you to be with your clients too, because that's where your success will start. You might not even have the greatest dogs, but if you have the greatest customer service, there's always going to be people coming back for you. And I guess that's it. And then, the marketing, the promotion, the selection, the marketing, the promotion, and the customer service. Now, I would love to read some questions. And I want to say, Lauren, do you have anything to say, mamas, about this? Because you met me by... you're muted. You met me through a stud. You're going to use my stud, remember?
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly how we found you. We found you because of, we found you from seeing Klaus, but I contacted you for Tractor. And to get that info right for him, because we were looking for who we were going to breed Rousey to the next time that she had come in heat. And I mean, it's been a whirlwind ever since, that is obviously the marketing and the promoting that you did on those boys worked, because we had no idea anything to do with Brazilian bulls until then.
But it was never false marketing, because when you got here and you see them in person, you see what they are. And this is very important too, guys. It's very important to not do false marketing. Don't try to, like I said, changing pictures and also show your dogs. If your client wants to see the dogs, you got to show your dogs. Don't run away, because that's another reason. There's some people that don't let them. They have beautiful dogs, beautiful pictures, beautiful videos. But then when people try to see their dog, they disappear,
Yeah. I mean, they were honestly, as a matter of fact, most of the time they're better in person. they were all better in person. You know, Tractor and Klaus. At the time, I don't think you had anybody else at that time other than Chuck Norris. Of course, we've seen Chuck, but for sure, pictures and videos did not, even the good ones that you promoted them with, they just did never do them justice. They are so much better in person, and I am very big. Me and Ryan both are very big on seeing the dog prior to using the dog, because pictures can be deceiving and videos can be deceiving, and you know, it makes it a lot better when you get there and they're even more than what you expected.
One thing that is very important, we talked about the health testing, right? The more health tested your dog is, the better chances against other studs it will have, because you're going to have, you know, ways of providing to your clients. And being health tested doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but you know, at least you can show your client that you have the hips x-rayed and the hips are, you know, you can say to them, hey, listen, I have this dog. He has mild hip dysplasia, which is still breedable as long as the female has good hips. You know, it's better to know and to provide the knowledge than to hide. And that's called transparency, which means respect to your client. Hector Vargas, the respect you show to people is one of many reasons why I think your program is successful. Respect is something that's lost in the bully game. I totally agree, and that's just what we were talking about. Thank you, Hector. For the Brazilian Bulls, what's top trait to look in the difference in the American XLs? 100% the muscle expression in the whole body, head, core, and rear. King Pound, number one rule I was taught is to go to the kennel to meet the breeder and his family, see how the dogs are treated, the lifestyle, the kennel setup, and what they're feeding, also medical care. Yes, this is something that I was just going to talk about, and that's what Lauren just said about meeting the breeder, but also keeping your dog in good health, doing maintenance, keeping the dog clean, you know. If you have them, you know, I don't know, I have a big setup here. I have them on concrete, but every once in a while I have to give them a bath because they get dirty, they get muddy. So if you're gonna, especially if you're gonna have, you know, them in a dog show, or if they're gonna be visited, make sure that you have their ears or their nails trimmed. You're gonna have them bathed, you know, clean, and you want to present your dog just like you present them in pictures. You want to have them looking good. Who else? Marathon. Two different people behind the camera will make two whole different dogs. Exactly. Debuts, hit the like button. There he is again. Also, you get professional photos. This was done a lot on the 2000s. Yes, the professional photos help, but I'm going to be very honest with you. Professional photos do not work with dogs unless the photographer is a dog person. I have some pictures made. I always use the same photographer in Brazil. And he is he's been photographing my dog since 2014. His name is Johnny. If you guys see some of the females that are in Brazil that we posted with Samba Kennels Brazil, all of those pictures I make with him. And I have a picture with my family since 2014, 12 years that I work with Johnny. And Johnny, he is not only one of the best animal photographers in the world. He's a dog breeder. He understands morphology, and he knows how to take a picture with a dog, and he never uses Photoshop. So if you guys are ever interested, I would love to bring Johnny here. That since we're talking about this, I would love to get Johnny here in the US for a photo shoot. I even told him that he could come here with his family and stay here, and I would drive him around, you know, Texas, or maybe do some photo shoots a couple of days and do in one spot. That would be amazing, because you guys have no idea the pictures that he makes. I would love you guys to see. There's some some still shots on my Instagram made by Johnny. And that's a whole different, because most photographer will never know how to photograph a dog. They actually make the dog look bad. The picture might be great quality, but they don't understand anatomy. and they might screw up your dog. So be very careful with professional photograph. Thank you so much for answering my question about photography trends. He's probably talking about something that we talked back then. If you don't promote your dogs, you're getting left behind. Bottom line, I agree. That's what we were talking about with Vito. I'm loving this convo. That's Kevin, PSB Kennels. Thank you, Kevin. This is good information. Hey, Lauren. That's Kevin. Marathon, unacceptable. I think he's talking about when I was saying that some stud owners, they have very popular studs, but when you need them, they ghost on you. And I was a little mad. Sorry if I cursed. I don't usually say bad words in life, but that drives me crazy. Spot on, Aurea. Thank you, heroes. Kevin, very true. I have stories for days. Earl from Sumo Bully Kennels, I can testify to this. Yes, sir. I don't talk bad about other breeders, but I will sure praise the good ones. Thank you so much, Earl. Aurea has never let me down. Well, that's true. He used some of my studs a few times, and I try to always be there for him. So many stud owners could make some serious notes here. That's true, Marathon. That's true. And there's differences, right? Like I was saying, some stud owners are not breeders, and if you're not a breeder, it takes more than just buying a dog to become a stud owner or a breeder, you know. Okay, great topic. Vergara Bulls. Thank you, Vergara. We have Marathon again. It's very unfortunate how shady people can be in this industry, but it makes the professionals stand out. Yeah, that's it. That's what I was telling at the end, you know. Do you do another breeding with client if they only have 3 puppies in a litter? Yes. The 3 puppies in a litter, I want to make this clear here. 3 puppies is a courtesy, you know. When I sell a stud, and I'm going to sound very rude right now. I'm going to sound very rude, but you will understand at the end. When I sell the genetics of my dog, which is the live, viable semen, I am not selling you a pregnancy. That is the result of the product that you're buying. But for you to get your result, you also have to do your due diligence and have your girl in good shape. You know, you have to do your part because it takes 2 for a pregnancy, and it doesn't depend just on my dog. So my dog will, I guarantee to you that I'm going to send you viable. You're going to have to do the due diligence to check with your veterinarian that that's viable. But the pregnancy is much more than the product that you're buying from me. The pregnancy depends on the previous history of your girl, the current history of your girl, your management as a breeder to make sure that that girl keeps the pregnancy, because many times the females do take, but they can absorb. And like I said here multiple times, one of the most factual reasons that they will absorb is stress. So these breeders, they spend money on studs, but then they take the dog to a dog show, they make them growl at each other for some reason, or they have visitors in the house, they have a big party with loud sounds, loud music, and the dog is there, or the dogs start barking, or there's like fireworks, and you don't put your female inside the house to protect her from going, even bath. I avoid giving my girls that are in the first month of pregnancy, I avoid to give them baths, because even the chemicals on the shampoo or the soap, or just the stress of being in a bath in that moment might cause them to absorb. So what I sell you is a viable semen that your vet is going to say, yes, it's viable. It's your responsibility to make sure that it's viable. Now, I'm not selling you guaranteed pregnancy. That's on both of us, right? So I did my part. I sold you what I was supposed to. Now you have to do your part to make sure that she takes, and if she takes, that she has a number of puppies that's reasonable for you. Now, as being in this industry for forever and knowing that if I buy a stud, I also want to have some type of guarantee, as a courtesy, I do offer a 3 puppy guarantee, because in general is 3 puppies is 1 to pay the costs, 1 for you to keep, and 1 for you to sell. At least you didn't lose money, you kept a puppy, and you covered your costs, and you make even a little profit. Now, that is not an obligation, you guys. This is a courtesy, and this is fair business. I don't have to guarantee that she's going to get pregnant, because it doesn't depend on me. But because this is an industry and we have to have some type of flexibility, I think that 3 puppies is good, and 2 puppies for frozen is good, because frozen is a little harder for you to guarantee. Although all of my frozen, most of them are like 6, 7, 8. We had 12 in Australia, and we've had lower numbers, and we had numbers that don't take, but it's just with the vet that I use, the system that he uses, we have had really good, amazing results with frozen. So yes, I do guarantee 3 puppies, and yes, I think it's fair, because it is not on me to sell the pregnancy. My duty is to sell you viable product from my boy, and you have to do your job to make sure that that pregnancy goes through. Okay, but like I said, it's a common courtesy to offer you in my contract 3 puppies for live, fresh, and 2 puppies for frozen. What's the best age to start studying out? I think that after you do your health testing, and health testing usually, even if you just do prelims of the hips, so you have an idea that the dog has at least reasonable hips, I would say around at least 12 months old, at least. I prefer 13, 14, but that's it. Such great advice. Thank you, Mary Carly Brundage. That's a hard name for me too. Love this episode. Thank you so much. I knew you guys were going to love this episode, because this is a hot topic. You know, we have a lot of people that come for us to in the hopes of having a stud, and this is what I do. I'm here to help you guys. You know, that's not rude, that's business. Yes, that is business, but when I say I'm not selling you, you know, it's none of my business if she takes or not. That's rude. But again, I cover that because I think that everybody deserves a little bit of some kind of warranty. And another thing is, another warranty that I do, and this is another thing that's very important. This has to do about knowing the business. Before I start studying out my studs, I make sure that I have enough frozen collected, because if something happens to him and he's not here anymore because he was sold to China or because he died, whatever, I have what I sold you. I have it in backup. It's almost like my insurance to you, you know. I don't know. I haven't seen many other breeders doing this. Not very many people do. I know Bossy does. I can tell for sure because she's my friend, and she has a huge program, and she does a very good job. I admire her work a lot. Talk whatever you want to talk about, Kat. She's not the queen. She's the king in this industry. Okay. And how much do you charge? We have our website with the studs. I am not serving my studs to, even though they were American Bully registered, I'm only serving them to Brazilian Bull programs. The only stud that I'm still open to American Bully is Sultan, because I do think that he has the phenotype of an American Bully XL, and I think that he can very well add qualities to the American Bullies. He has very short back. He has extremely beautiful top line, a beautiful angulation, and he's a shake son. So I have Sultan open to the American bullies only. At ABKC, he's an American bully, but everybody else, I'm not letting them go yet, okay, anymore. Okay, will Mandibula be available for stud? No, not for now. Anyways, I don't even know if he will be, but maybe. I'm not gonna say forever, but for now, no. He's only for Samba kennels. Do you do natural breedings? Never, because my studs, they work a lot. I don't want to take any type of risks. I know it's better if you have the stud and the female. If I had a stud and a female here, but I just don't think that I need to, because it works so well, And there's also like diseases and stuff, especially with clients. I would never do natural. Always fresh, live, side by side. I have had people come here and I do the breeding myself. I do the collection and I do the insemination. I am not doing that anymore because I just don't want people coming to my house all the time anymore. It's just too much. But I will send the genetic material to you the same day or the next day. Usually I ask 24 hours in advance. At least 2 years old. Yeah, 2 years old is the ideal. Yes, guys, I love this topic too. I'm going to read some of the messages from Instagram. I know some of you guys are not seeing, but I'm going to read it. I need my glasses because otherwise I cannot see what says here. On Instagram, we have, thank you for all this information, SA7. You're welcome. Like I said, I was going to give free game to everyone. When is the next stud opening? My studs are open to the Brazilian Bull programs, and I have Chuck Norris and Sultan open for American Bullies for now. Who else do we have here? When is the next stud open? I already read that. I'm sorry. It's so hard for me to read this whole bunch of lines here on Linda do Brasil, Samba, Camisa Linda do Brasil. Yes, I have my Brazil shirt. Guys, I'm so sad Brazil lost and Argentina is still going. If you guys don't know, Argentina and Brazil, we are rivals in soccer. In soccer, we are rivals. So I'm going to be Spanish all the way on Sunday because it's the finals for the World Cup. We didn't make it to the semifinals, and I'm very sad that Argentina made it to the finals. So I'm going to be cheering and rooting for Spain. Which gender is the best to start with for a kennel? JBL, we talked about this in the beginning of the live. I'm so sorry. I would prefer a female, like I said, because a female you cannot go wrong. But some people start with a male. Depends on what you want to do. If you want to have a real program and have a litter, or if you just want to have a beautiful boy and hope that he's going to be a stud, and that's why we're having this live tonight. To me, a female, different strokes for different folks. Yes, so somebody says here, tractor does too. Tractor does what? I'm sorry, King Pound. What did you mean tractor does too? I'm sorry. If you can comment on this tractor affirmation here. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyways, guys, if you have any more questions, I'm open to answer. I don't openly talk about my stud project, but I thought that this would be a good opportunity to actually extend my hand to you that's starting, that, I have so much love and so much support from the community. This is my way of giving you a little bit of advice. I don't have time right now, but I have been saying that in the future, I'm going to be opening a few spots for mentorship, one-on-one short courses mentorship, but I will need time to prepare it. I used to do it in the past. I stopped doing it because I got too busy, but I might be opening again as soon as we have the international, oh, my cat just screamed here. I thought it was Vivi. Did you hear that, Vito?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the two cats. No, the two cats are outside. No, Vivi's here and they're put away. But they're playing outside, and sometimes the two cats get at it, What was I saying? I forget. So we have the worldwide program. Me and Lauren, we are working on the Samba Kennels Worldwide, which is the possibility of opening Samba Kennels branches or powering other kennels to be a Samba Kennels representative in their kennels. We have different options, and we have a lot of work going on right now, and Lauren is helping me. So after we get that settled, then I might open a couple of spots for mentorship, okay, for a short-term mentorship. But that's not going to happen probably in about a month. And if you had to choose one stud to produce the next generation of Brazilian bulls from your yard, who would you choose? Mandibula, 100%. We all heard the cats. Yes, Shane, my cat girl is with my cat boy outside, and sometimes they fight and they make those noises and scare me. But she is spayed, so I'm not worried. Any considerations from my beautiful family, Vito and Lauren? Did I miss anything? Is there anything that I didn't say?
Oh, I think we covered everything I can think of.
Yeah,
Lauren?
I think that most of the people came here to hear what you were saying anyway, since you are the successful one in this situation at the moment. So I think that you covered just about everything that they have been wondering. You know, promoting their stud is important, and you are very successful at it. So I think that you got it all covered.
Yes, but mind you, I've always had a very entrepreneur mindset in everything that I did in my life. And I think that what broke the ice for me, as I said in the beginning of this live, was when I saw that video of Chuck Norris blowing up. And that created on me an idea that I knew how to promote that boy. I had no clue at that time that I was going to be bringing such wow factor dogs later on. But that opened my mind. So having an open mindset to understand possibilities and understand, things like, oh, my dog is open for selected females. Who are you to select females? You never know. Of course, you're gonna request the bare minimum. The female has to have breed type and healthy. Any health test would help. But this is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in social media when I see selected for limited spots, allowed for selected females. But sometimes the guy doesn't even know what breeding is. Like, how are you going to select? So it is important to select the bitches. Yes, it is. And I do select them too. But I just have a bare minimum limit of selection. Like, it has to be healthy and has the breed type and, something that's not, because sometimes you're promoting your dog so much and then productions mean so much. That's the next step. After promoting, how are you going to deal with all these ugly puppies that your beautiful stud promoted because you didn't select the female right? Hopefully, you're going to have the way of selecting the females, at least at a bare minimum, but you're not going to have to select like, oh, I only want this type of female, because you never know. Maybe your boy needs to be bred to different types of females to see how he's producing with different type of females, not just one very type, and this is where you actually see the production power of your stud, because at the end of the day, no matter, and this is to close this live, okay, no matter how gorgeous, wow factor, popular, amazing show type, breed type your dog is, or great reputation breeder behind the stud, nothing that matters if your dog does not produce. Productions at the end means a lot for a stud. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that he's producing. It's very rare for a big stud to outproduce himself, and it is not really the goal, because sometimes you don't have, and I've talked about this many times, sometimes you don't get the out producing result on the first generation, but you get it on the second generation. And this is why we're here for, to improve our productions. And it's okay for your boy to not outproduce himself in the first generation, but you try to get better dogs in the second generation. Okay. I haven't outproduced Shake yet, at least as boys, but I have gotten better structure and a more sound dog than Shake and Klaus, with a Shake son and a Klaus grandson, which is Sultan. Am I right, Vito?
Oh, yeah. And
Can you
his
talk
sister,
about Sultan?
and his sister Sienna.
His sister Sienna, yes. You know, that's a Klaus grandson. And he's not even, I'm hiding him because he's not even a year and a half yet. And he has the best top line I've ever seen on a bully. He has a beautiful rear angulation. He has beautiful, powerful rear. He has a gorgeous neck. And for me, he might not be as wow factor as his dad, but structurally, he's better than his dad. Technically, as a technical person that I am in dogs, he's better than his dad. Yes, you guys. Let me see. There's more questions here. Oh, Didi, how are you? She's working tonight. Didi, love you too, baby. You and Tony. We'll see you next Thursday.
They're taking part in a charity event for veterans.
Yes. I understood the veterinarian. I asked, why are you raising money for a veterinarian? She says, no, it's the veterans. My English is second language. One more question. Who is your most athletic stud? Puma. 100%. Puma. He's the most athletic.
More than Mandibula or Klaus?
I think more. Athletic looking, for sure. He has the tighter skin. He has the most muscle expression. Mandibula, I think he was the most. Now he's a little older. He's 5.5. So his muscle expression is not as visible, and he's Mandibula's grandson, so he has that muscle tone from him. But I think if you see Puma, you're not going to believe like how athletic he is. He's not the biggest one, but he has so much muscle, and it's so visual, and he's so sound, and he's fluent, like he's flowing when he moves, you know.
Unless Tractor sees a cat, then all of a sudden he wakes up. He's pretty athletic. There was a video of him, and he saw a cat or something, and I thought, whoa, who is that?
Tractor.
Normally, it's usually Klaus or Puma, but.
Oh, okay. She answered here. Tractor has good build to breed with XL Bully. 100%. All of my dogs do. They all have breed type enough to add that to American Bully, but I don't want to. That's my positioning right now. I've already bred them too much to American Bully. Who got it, got it. Now I'm going to promote and support and give their genetics to where they belong, which is the Brazilian Bulls. And I love what they have to offer, you know, and I think that they produce better with Brazilian Bulls. Tractor has a good build too. Boy is a producer. To breed to a Chihuahua. Thanks, Lauren. Tractor has a good build to breed with a Chihuahua. Boy is a producer, 100%. He sure is. Lauren has a beautiful, beautiful puppy there from Tractor. Do you keep track of your studs production? As much as I can, 100%, as much as I can. Unfortunately, a lot of them disappear. A lot of the great ones became pets. They don't promote them anymore, or breeders that decided to not breed anymore. I have some really good examples of dogs that were supposed to be amazing studs right now. The people at the time, were breeding, and some stopped breeding, or they broke up with the wife and the wife kept the dog, stuff like that, but I try to keep as much as I can. That's it, you guys. I think that we covered almost everything. I don't have any other questions here that I can think of. Oh, there's another one here. Who is it? David Doling. How old do the studs have to be before they're ready? I usually do my prelim tests around one and a half. 1.5 for sure. But I have opened a stud at 13 months old. 1 year and 1 month. That was, and that happened.
4 months.
Pardon?
You can do a pen hip on a dog, and it's reliable after 4 months.
That's true. I always forget about pen hip. I have to start doing pen hip right now. I want to know from King Pound, why do you say 2 years old? What is the point? I don't get it. I don't agree with you. I respect it, but I don't agree with you. Why do you say 2 years old? I start promoting my dogs. I start studying my dogs out. As soon as I have prelims of cardiac, elbows, hips, and we're talking the males.
2 years is kind of the standard, because you have to wait till they're 2 years old for OFA to certify their hips.
For OFA, but we can do prelims and have an idea if the dog, especially in this breed, we want to make sure that the dog, as long as it's, and another thing, Vito, that I truly believe, as long as the dog might have fair hips, okay? But the muscle support is so important on a dog. The rear support. Sometimes you see dogs with fair hips, but amazing muscle support. Do you agree with me on that or not?
I don't want to get into hips because I'll go way too long, but all I'll say is OFA is a faulty test. OFA at 2 years of age certified doesn't really mean what people think. It's not a guarantee your dog's never going to develop hip dysplasia. And also, they're looking at something that has nothing to do with what you're trying to achieve. Pen hip looks at hip laxity. Hip laxity is consistent after the age of 4 years, or after 4 months of age in a dog. It doesn't change. Laxity is the looseness of the tendon in the hip socket. So if you're really trying to produce great hips and great dogs without issues, the older they get, pen hip's the way to go. And if you're going to do a prelim, it's going to cost you what, $300, $400, and then you're going to do another one at 2 years of age. That's another $400. That's $800. That's cheap. That's more expensive than a pen hip. Pen hips might be anywhere from $500 to $700. I've heard higher prices, but if you look around, you should be able to get them. So do it at 4, 5, 6 months, and you know what the hip laxity is in your dog, and that tells you everything. The tighter your dog's hips, the longer it will go before it has any signs of wear, which is different than hip dysplasia. Hip dysplasia, if you look up the definition, it's an abnormal hip joint conformation, but that's a subjective thing. So is that short enough?
Thank you. Yeah, that is perfect, Vito. That is perfect. I do.
If your dog has really bad hips at 5 months, you can find it a pet home. If it's got average hips, you know what you got. If it's got tight hips, you got a home run.
And I do believe I want to start doing pen hip. Pen hip was always very far away from my reality because I could never find vets that did it. But I do believe that it's worth it, doing it early. I do agree with you that OFA is crazy, but, we're talking 21 years doing this. I've always understood that at least we can have an idea of what the hips look like at 1 year old with a prelim. And we want to make sure that the dogs are. It is better than nothing.
But you also came from a breed. Doggos have crazy tight hips. Pen hip on a doggo, the average is in the 4s, which is really tight. It's not weird
Yeah,
to
we
find a
don't.
doggo in the 2s and 3s. Easy.
We also have problems. We have a lot of problems with that. I do have someone asking me here, York Benitez, do you like Merles? Well, let me show you my next stud right now. Just a second. Look at this boy here. This is my next stud. Look at him.
Aria, what's his name?
Mapuche.
Mapuche.
Mapuche, and he's Brazilian. He has wow factor. His wow factor is in the markings, I would say. He's only 5 months old, but he's going to be my next stud if everything goes well. I actually was going to let him go. Like, I just got him here because of, I really liked his color. I really loved his color. And I said, well, maybe I'll take him. We'll see how he grows. But the more the time goes by, the more I like him. And I think he's so unique. And he can add some color to my
like
female.
He's got a nice, substantial muzzle.
Yes. Very thick. And he's still a baby, He's got some Berzilla in the background. He's got Aiken, I believe. So he's a good mix of Brazilian blood. Guys, 2 hours and 21 minutes. I've never been so long in a live with so many people watching all the way to the end. 29 people online right now, and plus Instagram. And I cannot thank you enough for being here with me all the way. I know how important this is for you. I appreciate you listening. And like I said, it is very important. It is very important for me to be, sharing with you some things that will help you, because I'm not worried about building competitors. As long as I can bring up more good quality competitors, it's always more fun to play. That's how I see it. So if I can help you guys become better breeders, it's better for the dogs, it's better for us, it's better for all of us, King Pound, to me, 1-year-old dog is not mature enough or hasn't fully popped. Yes, but it's a boy, if he's already making, people are loving him, why not stun him out? Because he's not going to be hurt by being pulled. It's different than having a pregnancy at 12 months old. But I understand your point. And we're talking only males. We're not talking females. Oh, wow, my gosh. Wow, he's beautiful. Yes, that's Mapuche, my future stud. Much love from
What does
Mapuche
that mean?
So Mapuche is a tribe in the Patagonian, South America, Patagonia. And I used to have a dogo called Mapuche. Hola, Mapuche. Yes, see? Wow, Mapuche. Watching you guys from Paraguay. York Benitez, can you tell me the real meaning of Mapuche? Because I know it's an Indian tribe, right? It's a native name for a tribe of a region, if I'm not mistaken, a Patagonian region between Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. Am I right? Please, York Benitez, let me know. And while he answers me, I'm going to put him on the live again, because this boy, will the new dog's face widen through maturity? Oh, 100%. 100% they will.
I think he's going to have a huge head because his ears are big.
What do you mean his ears are big? Because we cropped them big?
No, you can see the thickness of the top of the ear, how thick it is, and it's.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a thicker ear, bigger ear. Not the crop, the ear itself. If he didn't have the crop, he'd probably have big ears. A lot of times they grow into the nose and the ears.
That's true. What are the the key points of promoting, what did I miss? Well, the key points is the right angle, the right lighting, the right moment. I always say, and Vito knows about this. I want to see Vito's face when I say this. Vito, am I right? What I tell you, it's better to have one good picture than 1,000 mediocre pictures. One picture.
You have to be a curator of your dog. You have to curate his image, his photos, his diet, his sex habits.
Everything.
You have to represent everything.
All right, you guys, I'm going to let you guys go now. Everybody's tired, but I loved talking about the studs in this episode. I appreciate everybody that stayed all the way with us. It's been great. Keep up the positivity. Sorry if I cussed. It's not of me to cuss online, and I just really got mad when he came to that topic. And, it's been a long path for me. I was hated a lot. I was very hated in the beginning. I was very, judged, especially because people saw that I had some talent. I wasn't just coming here, I was newbie in their breed, but I knew a lot about breeding and structure, a lot than most of them that were doing what I was doing at the same time, So if you do everything with respect, with knowledge, with a strategy, and if you study, you respect the dogs, you respect your clients, you respect your business, study, create a plan, follow the plan, follow through the plan, be patient, because bad things are going to happen. You will succeed. And when you have haters, like somebody said here, David said, if you don't have haters, you're not doing right. When you have the haters, that's when you know that you did it, and absolutely. But at the end of the day, haters, it's all love. They're our biggest fans, and I appreciate them for being here. The existence is important because they talk more about me than my fans, Oh, there you go. Mapuche are native tribes from Patagonia, Chile. Yes, that's it. Thank you. Guys, good night, good evening. I love you all. Keep up the good work. Make sure to always think about this. If you forget, this live is going to be recorded. Make sure to share with somebody that you love and you want to see them succeed. I'm going to put a little bit of music so we can close this and let you relax on samba time or samba bossa nova tonight. Vito, thank you so much for being here. Laurie, my love, thank you so much for being there. I think she went to check on the puppies. And we will be here next Thursday with possibly a guest. I'm not going to announce yet, but we're going to have a guest that is not a breeder, that everybody's been waiting for. But I cannot announce yet before we confirm. Okay? Love you guys. Take care. I'll see you next Thursday.
Samba candle. Watch these legends steal the show. Samba land, let it shine. One samba life, one samba time. Samba candles made for more. Hear the world knocking at the door. From Brazil to USA, samba made the runway. Close track. every time. Built with love, built with care. Samba magic everywhere. Samba candles